the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It sprawls film, TV, and, one could argue, comics. Yes, I count Fury's big wig as canon, come at me! And with last month's news, firstly that Marvel already has an outline for another 20 films after Phase 4 wraps with the untitled 4th Avengers movie, and secondly that Disney are taking over the world. Well, taking over 20th Century Fox for now, but we presume their plan is the world. It's an exciting time for the MCU, with many rights to characters poised to be available to them once more. So, what else is there to do than come up with a guest list of what those 20 films could be? Guest list, as in a list we guessed, not a guest list, we're not inviting them anywhere. The next 20 MCU movies after Avengers 4, maybe. Hi, I'm Phil, welcome to my channel, and like the proverbial college student exploring their sexuality, I'm in an experimental mood for this video, which is why I'm giving it a go, being a disembodied voice for a change. Does kind of make me want to go ooh like a ghost though, so we'll see how it goes. Let's kick off our list with the inevitable sequels. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. The first Guardians of the Galaxy really shook up the MCU and proved that Marvel could take characters only hardened Marvel Comics readers had heard of, wave their magic over it, and turn out a critical and commercial smash.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know how this machine worked.
Its use of clever 80s music was unique for the genre, and the film's success has left an influence on MCU movies since. The sequel may have mostly been more of the same, but I was just fine with that, and both films' success meant that a third was quickly announced. This one isn't speculation, people, it's definitely happening. Captain Marvel 2. Before that 4th Avengers movie, we have the first Captain Marvel, and unless it completely bombs, which is about as likely as Tony Stark passing an attractive woman without eyeing her up, we're bound to be getting a sequel. The first female-led movie in the MCU has been a long time coming. Let's hope they've gotten it right. Doctor Strange 2. There were set up for sequels in the first one, did well at the box office, and Cumberbatch's portrayal was well liked. Of course there's going to be a sequel. Black Panther 2. While the first Black Panther film is still to debut in the cinemas, it looks to be an amazing film with its own unique style. I mean, have you seen that trailer? It looks awesome! Sequel bound to follow. Ant-Man 3. It's been quite interesting to see how Phase 3 films have both kept to the Marvel formula and yet added their own spin to it. Ant-Man's spin was that it was essentially a heist movie. What Ant-Man and the Wasp will do, who knows, and our third film is an even more unknown. This is the most uncertain of the sequels, as it will depend a lot on how Ant-Man and the Wasp does at the box office. Spider-Man Homecoming 2 and 3. Disney's deal with Sony to get the rights back to use Spider-Man looks a bit overshadowed now by the looming mega deal with Fox. But let's not forget how important and miraculous this deal felt at the time when we first saw Spider-Man swinging to action in Civil War. Marvel will want to get their money's worth. Iron Man 4. Okay, this may be wishful thinking. For starters, Tony will need to survive Avengers 4 for this to happen, but one more film for the old red and gold Tin Man to send him off could be amazing. Whether he dies, finally actually retires, or heads off for a prolonged mission in, I don't know, space or something, some thematic end to his journey in his own movie would be nice. And if he heads off into the sunset for a decade-long rest, it would give the distance needed to bring the character back, played by a new, cheaper, actor many years down the line. All new Captain America. 10 years into the MCU, I think we're due a proper passing of the torch film, and no, Ant-Man doesn't count. Most people are assuming Cap won't make it to the end of Avengers 4, but rather than end the line of Captain America films, why not let someone else take over the title? There's precedence for this in the comics, with both Bucky Barnes and Sam Wilson having taken on the role at various points. Bucky, in the role, especially, could make for a really interesting new trilogy. That's the sequels out of the way. Now, what about those characters who haven't had their own films in the MCU yet? Black Widow. Why, oh why, are we 10 years in and this film hasn't been made yet? So much interesting backstory has been hinted at. I predict a film telling the parallel stories of today and her past. Lots of flashbacks to her time working with the Russians and a history of Hawkeye, and maybe her switch over to S.H.I.E.L.D. Could be an amazing psychological thriller dealing with brainwashing. Basically, give me this film please, Marvel. Oh, you are? Well, thanks. Howard the Duck. Okay, I've never seen the 80s Howard the Duck movie, but I know it by reputation, and that reputation is bad. But, and hear me out here, given the rather amusing cameos in the Guardians of the Galaxy movies, and if it was given to the right creative team, this could be a really amusing satirical film. It's probably, though, the least likely to ever get made on this list. Blade. It's been 14 years since the last Blade film, 12 since the short-lived TV series. It's time for another Blade revival. This could be the MCU's first foray into an R-rated movie, if they're brave enough. Captain Britain. MCU's going international with Black Panther, so why not continue that trend with some more non-American heroes? As a Brit myself, I would of course love to see a Captain Britain movie. We deserve some superheroes too, you know, and no, most of Asgard having British accents does not count. Nova. The Nova Corps have already been introduced in the Guardians of the Galaxy movie, so it won't be that much of a stretch to introduce the member of it who would become known simply as the superhero Nova on Earth. Howling Commandos. The team of World War II Army commandos seen fighting alongside Captain America and later in the TV series Agent Carter could potentially hold up their own period action film, especially if they get all the original actors back as well. Marvel Zombies. Okay, bear with me here. Marvel Zombies was a bit of a publishing phenomenon in the comics world back in 2005 and 2006. Everyone was talking about them. Basically, set in a parallel world where most Marvel superheroes have been turned to zombies, it could be an opportunity to tell a tale not bogged down with continuity from the MCU Earth itself, that could bring back characters killed off in the main cinematic universe. Maybe one character from the MCU we know could find themselves in this parallel Earth and have to escape back. Or maybe it could end with one of the zombies escaping to the MCU to set up a sequel. It could be the MCU's first horror movie. Did I sell it to you? Avengers Secret Invasion. I expect we'll get the biggest break between main Avengers movies we've had so far after the fourth one. And the makeup of the team will probably be vastly different from the original 6 from the first movie. But it's one of the biggest brands Marvel have. They won't rest it forever. Secret Invasion was a storyline for the comics, one where the shape-shifting alien Skrulls had replaced many of the Marvel characters we know and love. With the Skrulls being introduced in the forthcoming Captain Marvel movie, the fact that audiences will be familiar with them means this is an excellent opportunity to adapt that storyline. The Fox deal. And so we come to the one good thing the world may get from this Disney Fox deal: Fox superhero movie characters introduced into the MCU. Fantastic Four. Probably the easiest to introduce into the existing MCU, as they can be introduced afresh, getting their powers for the first time. The Ultimate Universe versions of the characters would be the best for this, as the MCU is rather lacking in teenage variety superheroes, bar Spider-Man, and it fits more with the setup of the MCU. Yes, the 2014 Fantastic Four movie had Ultimate elements, but it was poorly executed. I have full confidence Marvel would do it right. Avengers vs X-Men. Or Secret Wars, whichever way you want to go with it. We reached the big one, the big conundrum, the impossible task: how to incorporate the X-Men into the MCU. Even ditching all the Fox film continuity doesn't really help. The backstory of the mutants stretches back before any of the movie's timelines. To suddenly say they have existed all this time and never been mentioned would be frankly crazy. So, why not have our first multiverse crossing event? Seeds of the multiverse existence could be planted in various films leading up to this, like that Marvel Zombies movie I mentioned. See, it would be worth doing. And this film would focus on the meeting of the MCU with the Fox movie universe. Whether this is an Avengers vs X-Men movie, in name only, not following the plot of that comic book, or a Secret Invasion movie, it could end in one of two ways. Both teams have to go back to their respective universes to continue their adventures unimpeded by the other's continuity, or a Secret Wars, the second one, type story, where the worlds are merged at the end, and it could pave the way for a brand new MCU with freedom from all films' previous continuity. But hey, that's just my thoughts on the matter. What about yours? What films would you like to see in your ideal next 20 MCU movies? Any characters I missed at all? Let me know in the comments below. And don't forget to like, share, subscribe and all that jazz for more movies, TV and other pop culture content from me. See you next time.